Hi, Ryan. Welcome to the Aldar Expert Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Just from yesterday, amazing Aldar Expert event we had. So, Ryan, thank you so much for being here with us today. It was a pleasure. So, I'm going to go straight in, and then we're going to open to Q&A.
Okay.
So, let's first talk about consistency.
Okay.
Through all your videos, you can see that you wake up very early in the morning. It seems you have a pretty organized day to, achieve your objectives. How important is consistency for you?
Oh, incredibly important. This business that we're all in, right? The sales business, especially the brokerage business, is a complete roller coaster. At the beginning of your career, there's great highs. You do a couple deals, and then there's terrible lows where all of a sudden you make no money. Even as you grow, even now me, 15 years into the business, your mood is dependent upon how many deals you're doing, and then how many deals you're doing, and then the market's slow, and so for me, the only control I have in my life is what I do day in and day out, every hour. And so the consistency in the work and the consistency in the schedule and creating those strong habits give me like an anchor, so that no matter what, in a great market or a bad market, on a good deal day or a bad deal day, no matter what, the days I control that work. And if you take care of the work will take care of you. And I think that's true for any entrepreneur. I think if you're in a standard 9 to 5, then, you're not really in control of your life, but then you also give up the chance of great reward. And so that doesn't work for me, right? I want the most risk for the most reward, and then I'll just control everything that I put out every single day. And so, like even this morning, I don't even know what day it is. I don't even know what time it is right now. I'm upside down. I'm talking to people in New York. It's 2:30 in the morning, and they're like, stop calling. I'm forgetting. It's up early, in the gym early breakfast. We had a meeting at the hotel this morning. Now I'm here, now running around, and so the structure doesn't change.
That's great. Obviously, you build a business from scratch. Today you have a great amount of people working for you. How important is managing a team? How hard it is? And what tips would you give for real estate brokers who are expanding and hiring people? What's the number one tip you would bring to the table?
I think you have to understand that there's a big difference between being a leader and being a manager.
Yeah.
I think it's two separate things. And I think most people don't get that. It's much easier to lead than it is to manage. Managing others is really, really difficult and is a total pain. And most people really don't want to do it. I'm a much better leader than I am a manager. And to really lead either a team of agents or a team of employees, you have to have two things. You have to have perspective. So you have to know where they're coming from every day. It's not just leading by example, right? Which is what I thought it was for so long. It's like, well, if I do great, then you better do great. Just watch me, follow me. It doesn't really work that way. So you have to have perspective of where they're coming from. How much money do they have in the bank? What's their life like? Do they have a good home relationship? How far do they have to drive every day? What are their stresses? And then you have to have empathy to be able to understand. And a lot of people don't have that empathy. Management, on the other side, is far more personal, and you're putting everyone else in front of you to be a strong manager. And so I've always had good managers around me. I have great managers who work at the company now who really handle everything that I would be terrible at handling, because I just innately don't have the patience that you need to have to be a strong manager.
And both are different skill based anyway, right?
Yeah, it's two different sides of the brain. That way. It's hard to find somebody who can really lead an army into battle and then also turn around and manage everyone's feelings and everyone's problems. It's typically two different people.
Absolutely.
Kind of the yin to the yang. And so I have good people that, as I'm leading the army into the field, I've got people who are coming with me, but their backs are turned to me because they're with all the other soldiers, making sure that they're okay and that they're good and that they understand the mission leaning forward and that they keep the same level of energy and culture and happiness. You can have the greatest idea ever, but if you have the wrong people and they're not happy, then you'll never sustain anything. Like you'll never have a great product.
Amazing. Yesterday during Outdoor Experts, you have raised the importance on personal brand. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, personal branding is lead generation more than anything. Everyone in this room has a personal brand. You just don't even know it. You know, I think like I mentioned yesterday a little bit, like I had no idea what my personal brand was or what my reputation was until I started asking people, who am I? You think you are the person in the mirror, but you're really not. You're the person everyone else sees. And so it comes down to how you talk, how you look, how you react, how you follow up, how you respond, how you care. Do you smile? Do you not smile? What's your handshake? What's your eyesight like? You know, that's how people define you. And so that personal brand is then what you're known for. You are the one who does what? Like, how am I supposed to talk about you when you're not in the room? And the more memorable a personal brand, the greater your business is going to become, especially when you work in sales. And so we have a whole education program that's geared on helping people build that personal brand in sales. And it's a 3-pronged process. It's first, you have to have a real clear understanding of what your core identity is, who you are today and who you want to be in 2 years. So today you are Ryan, the weird, brand new real estate agent that no one knows. Okay, so in 2 years, who do you want to be? From there, you start having to create consistent content. So it's not just video or audio, it's written content. It's content in the form of being there in person, right? I'm having a conversation with you. This is content right now, regardless of the people in the room and the cameras, because it's content that you're going to remember, right? So we're creating memory content. So creating consistent content, and then you amplify success. So you have a clean understanding of who you are as a brand.
Self-awareness.
Yep. But it's also self-aware enough to pivot if you need to, right? Who are you? What are you? So like people say they want to be in luxury all the time. I'm doing low price sales. I want to be in high price sales. Well, it's okay because all people know you as is somebody who does low price sales because it's all you talk about. Because every low price deal you do, you tell people about it, which is fine. But the more you talk about it, the more people are going to associate you with that price point. So the easiest way to get out of that is the next time you do a deal that's in a higher price point, you talk about that deal and above. You make content about that price point and above. And then you amplify that success and everything above. That's going to bring you business that's in that category and a little bit above. Even if it's $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 above, now you're creating content at that price point and above and above and above and above and above. Because it's really easy to go from the top to the bottom. Like I can sell things that are $200 million and people that have property for $500,000 will still work with me. It's very difficult to be a $500,000 broker to then get clients who are comfortable enough to work with you at the upper echelon of the luxury market. And so you want to stay at high luxury and be able to drop down whenever you want versus being down below and trying to jump up and grab higher price point clients. And so that's how you start to work on that personal brand, and you got to do it quick, right? And you can make quick moves. You don't have to wait for the phone to ring. Something we talk about all the time is Serhant speed, right? We have Serhant sleep, and then you have Serhant speed. And at Serhant speed, you're not waiting for approval. You're not having analysis paralysis. You're not creating a whole business plan and then seeing if something's going to work and what's going to happen and overthinking everything. You have an idea, you take action, you put it into action the next day, and you move on. Does it work? Does it not work? Next day. Move on, because there's too much noise now. There's too much happening in the world. You know, like I'm here in Abu Dhabi yesterday and today, and I go back to New York, and I have meetings in New York. I have other clients and everything that I'm seeing in Dubai, seeing here, so I'm making the absolute most amount of my time that I'm on the ground here, and then back in the plane. And I'll have Wi-Fi in the plane so I can be getting work done while I'm in the plane. So it's otherwise people are going to pass you, you know, and there's too much happening now. So you have to be quick.
But when you talk about personal brand, a lot of brokers, they tend to focus so much on the product, right? And positioning the listings on, here is my property.
Yeah.
Please come and buy from me.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the only way, or they need to educate people?
You can focus on the property when one You don't have a strong enough personal brand yet, so you need to, it's basically like associated marketing. So I don't have anything to talk about personally, so I'm going to talk about this new building, this $10 million property. So now you're going to associate me with that building. You're going to associate me with that listing, which is fine. But you really need to associate yourself with success. Success begets success. No one's going to care that you walk through a home. So anybody could do that, right? It's your success that people care about. But, for example, I did a TV show called Millionaire Listing New York for 10 years. That's a long time. No one in 10 years has ever come up to me, emailed me, texted me, or DM'd me about the real estate deals that I did on the show. And yet for 10 years, my number one stress was the real estate deals that I would film on the show. All I cared about was the properties. There was so much pressure from the network. You've got to sell, you've got to do this, you've got to close, it's got to be this, it's got to be the format. And you fight and you fight and you fight and you fight and you fight. And then the other guy's doing something different, he's doing something better, and it's da-da-da-da-da. And then when people watch it, no one could care less about the deals. No one's ever come up to me and they're like, oh my God, Ryan, in season 2, you got $3,000 a square foot. That was my favorite moment. No one cares. All people cared about was someone gave you a pig as a present. Your wife, she's Greek. I watched your wedding. Oh my goodness. I saw your baby being born. That date you went on, this. Oh, that thing you said to him. People care about the interpersonal connections, and then they want to work with you. So I get a lot of business from Millionaire Listing, but it has nothing to do with the real estate. It has everything to do with the guy that sells the real estate, because they're choosing to work with you and your brand, and then you have access to the real estate, and that's fine.
Sure.
And that was kind of like a wake-up call for me. Like, I thought it was going to be so much about the real estate, and no one cared. No one cared. They wanted to work with the character. They want to work with the personality, and you'll help them find the real estate, or you'll help them sell the property from there. So in social, like if you follow me on social now, I show real estate sometimes, but not nearly as much as I used to, because no one cares and everyone has access to it now. It's not like what it used to be. The world's a different place now. And so I focus far more now on the personal brand aspects and what makes me unique, which is way easier actually than putting myself in a really, really cool, expensive home. But I give it to them every now and then, just reminding people. Other than that, it's a pure digital strategy and focus on, you're working with me, I have access to the real estate, versus you are working with the real estate via me.
Right. In the end, people buy from people, so I can relate to what you're saying. When we think about somebody starting in the industry today, what would be your top tips?
Work on a team, 100%. Do not do it by yourself. Work with somebody else for at least 2, if not 3 years, as like a graduate degree, right? Learn from them, soak up the information, listen to them, do everything. Be in Dubai in a moment's notice, and then be back here for a show, and then go back in Dubai, then back here. Like, do everything you possibly can just to learn, exhaust yourself, work 20 hours a day, don't take a day off, and you'll put yourself 10 years ahead of the competition. And then associate yourself with success, because you're not going to have success from day one, but that doesn't mean that you can start creating a personal brand that is associated with success. And I would tell everybody on my team, when I had a team before starting the company, all the time, use me. My sales are our sales. My deals are we, right? Get used to using the words we, us, our. Like if I'm an agent outside another firm and I don't sell Aldar properties, I sell with Aldar, right? It's the developer and I. It is we, right? We are bringing these to market because you need the salespeople just as much as the salespeople need you. And so it was always us, always we, never I, never me. I mean, that's an important thing, especially for young, new salespeople to learn, because they have such strong egos. Something I said yesterday too, I think. I blacked out halfway through, so I'm trying to remember what I said. Was about like part of the way that real effective negotiators and closers operate is by putting the interests in front of the ego. Like we all do deals where we negotiate with difficult people, right? And you have a lot of ego on the other side. And it's like the salesperson gets in the way of the deal all the time. And so the best way to work for the deal is to put the interests of the deal first and foremost and swallow your pride, like really swallow the ego and then laugh all the way to the bank, right? And that's how you close, and that's how you deal with difficult brokers and difficult people on the other side.
Amazing. And to close, tools and resources that you think are available for brokers to leverage in 2023.
Sellitlikesirhant.com.
That's an easy one.
Yep. The greatest sales training in the history of the world. So there's that. I think training is important. Whether you train with us or you train with whoever you want to. Like I've always been a big fan of coaching and mentorship. Like it's, you think about the greatest athletes in the world. They have 10 coaches. They have a coach for the right leg. They have a coach for their left foot, and then they have their cardio coach and they have the weightlifting. Like if they're paid hundreds of millions of dollars and then we as salespeople are like, no, I'm just good. Like there's something wrong with that.
Yeah.
And so I think consistently investing into yourself, learning new ways to talk, like new ways to ask questions. Like something that I've started doing, is starting in my conversations with clients, really thinking about, okay, how am I talking to them? Let me use the funnel technique. And you get so much more information out of people and you get much closer to a deal. Like, how do I reach out to somebody who hasn't responded to me in 3 days? Like, there's trainings that'll teach you how to have that conversation instead of saying, hello, checking in, following up, are you alive? Things like that. And it's, no matter how long you're in the business, actually, I think the longer you're in the business, the more training you actually need. And it's not a negative, it's a positive. Absolutely. You're consistently reinvesting into yourself and into your business. And as a salesperson, like, this is my business. This is right here. It's not my office, right? It's not my computer. Mm-hmm. We're not creating a widget, You're creating a brand. Absolutely. And that brand drives business. So there's that. And I think good systems, like the power of technology today, like I said yesterday, not just as an empowerer or as an enabler, but really as a communicator is massive. And you can do so much more work now using great systems, that can do work for you and just put those systems into place, like using great automated CRMs and using AI to help you, even just with writing now, it's pretty wild. That way you only focus on what you are uniquely qualified to focus on, which is selling. Like, what can a computer not do? It can't sit in front of you and convince you to do this deal.
Absolutely.
So I can do that. Everything else, I'm going to have other people or systems do for me.
And no way you think AI is going to replace brokers. A lot of viral videos going saying, the servicing industry is finished. The machines are going to take over.
Yeah, I mean, if the machines take over, then we're all going to die. And then, like, what am I going to do? Like, it's going to be over for all of us. But I think we are lucky in the fact that we are very much still in a people business. We're negotiating complex, hugely financial decisions for people. And we just have to, just like we did when the internet was invented in the 90s, like the same conversation was happening then. The internet is going to replace everybody. Jobs are over. Investment bankers out of the business, right? eTrade.com, Fidelity.com. Except what happened? Yes, there's more information. The information is much faster, but no one understands it. And so you need more and more people to help explain it. And that's what we're here for. So you can be afraid of AI, or you can actually put it to use for you. So for me, it's how do I make my agents faster now? I'm not replacing them. I'm making them faster so I can have more. Because more and more people are getting into this business than ever before, right? How can I help my customers make decisions faster so I can do more deals? So I'm not going to let AI replace the fact that I'm doing the research. I'm going to have the AI do the research faster and do it better than ever before. And so my clients say, well, Ryan really embraces technology. His firm really embraces technology. Because there's also a know, like, and trust factor. At the end of the day, a human being is always going to trust another human being far more than they're going to trust, a computer, or than they're going to trust an algorithm. Like, I don't even trust anything that's in my phone anymore. I see people talking and saying things. I don't even believe it's the right person anymore. I don't even know if I'm here personally. I might not even be here right now. This might not even be me.
Ryan, it was absolute pleasure to host the Aldar Experts podcast. And I hope you had a good time in Abu Dhabi and with Aldar.
Thank
and
you.
We hope to see you soon.
Me too.